it's Andy from Beyond Guitar, and in this video we're going to discuss how to spice up your chord progressions and how to make simple chord progressions sound really cool. Okay, here we go. So let's start with everybody's favorite chord, just the basic C. Okay, here's your basic C chord. Okay, you've probably strummed this chord a million times. Okay, now what can you do with it that makes it more interesting though? So, one of the variations that you could play on C is you just simply lift up your middle finger. When you lift up your middle finger, you could call that a C sus2. Okay, it's a suspended chord. Okay, now if you can make an interesting rhythm between a C and the C sus2 and kind of go back and forth, then that's going to sound pretty cool. Okay, now what else can you do with a C? You can also add a finger, so you can add your pinky finger on the 3rd fret, string 4. When you add that pinky finger in, that's called C sus4. It's another suspended chord, and it sounds pretty cool. Okay, so you could add that into your strums. Okay, now that you know both of those moves, what if you combine those? So maybe I'll play a C and I'll lift my middle finger and get the C sus2. I'll go back to C and then I'll add the pinky and get the C sus4. So now I'm going to do all the variations. There we go. Okay, now you can also do more variations where you lift the index finger. You lift up finger 1. When you lift up finger 1, that makes a C major 7. Okay, now you have yet another variation. Go. Okay, then likewise, the pinky can also add extra notes. Your pinky finger can play 3rd fret on string 1 or string 2. Okay, so what if I add my pinky finger on string 1? That's also just called a C chord. Okay, and then when I lift it up, that's just another variation of C, okay? And then when I put my pinky on the 2nd string, I like that note. That's a cool sounding note. That's called C add 9. And then when I take my pinky away, I'm back to just a standard C. Okay, what would it sound like if I put the pinky on string 1 and string 2 and I kind of bounced it back and forth between those two notes? That would be pretty cool. There we go. Okay, we covered a lot of different variations on C. So let's continue on. Let's move on. So let's play an F chord. Okay, now for this video, I'm not going to play anything difficult with my F chord. I'm just going to do the very simplest F chord that I have. F major 7, okay? Let's learn about that. Finger 1 on the 2nd string. Finger 2 on the 3rd string. Finger 3 on the 4th string. The end. That's it. I have that nice open E ringing out on top. And you have to make sure you don't play string 5 and string 6. Just skip those strings. Okay, I could do all the same moves that we just did on C. I can do the same moves on F, okay? So what were the different moves? The first move you learned about was lifting up the middle finger. Okay, that's gonna sound pretty cool. That's called F sus2. All right, how does that sound? Okay. What was the other move we did? We added a pinky note like this. You can also play that. Okay, it might not fit for every song to do that. And I don't want to get too much into music theory right now, but that's a B flat, so it might not fit every song to do that move, but let's just keep on going. Let's move on. Let's do the move where I bounce my pinky finger from string 1 to string 2. I squeeze fret 3 and I squeeze fret 3 and I move it back and forth. Let's see how that sounds. There we go. Okay, and then finally, the last move is to lift up finger 1. When I lift up finger 1, I get a little bit of a dissonant chord, but that's okay. Let's see how that sounds. There we go. Okay, we covered all the same moves on F that we did on C. Let's keep going. Let's try A minor. Okay, here's my A minor chord. Okay, what are the different moves? All right, well, I'm going to start by lifting up my middle finger. Okay, that makes a A suspended 4 chord. Okay, let's keep moving on. So what if I lift up the ring finger? Then that makes an A minor and an A minor 7. Let's hear the sound. Let's keep going. What if I lift up my index finger? What if I lift up finger 1? That gives you a A sus2. Or you can also call that an A add 9. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, we lifted up every single finger and they all sounded cool. Let's do our final move. We're going to try to get that pinky action going where we practice putting the pinky on the 3rd fret, string 1. And then we'll put the pinky on the 3rd fret, string 2. Okay, this isn't super easy, but it sounds cool. Give it a try. There we go. Okay, we used up all the different variations on A minor. So let's move on and do our last chord. We're going to do a G. Okay, so a lot of players know G like this. This is one of the standard fingerings for G. I've got finger 1, I've got finger 2, then I place finger 3 right there. And that's your standard G. Okay, but there's not a lot of space for doing extra moves. Your pinky really can't reach any cool sounding notes. And we can't reach fret 1 because it's too far away, too much of a stretch. And so the only real good note that I could think of is take finger 1 and move it over and press down the 3rd guitar string. 2nd fret, string 3, like this. You get that note. It's called a G add 9, okay? Okay, now we have a cool sound we can switch to. Okay, sometimes in folk music and, you know, Peter, Paul and Mary and Bob Dylan and kind of songs from back in the day, you might hear a move where you just simply lift your index finger and you put it back on again. Although I've always felt that that particular variation has a lot of dissonance. Because now you're getting this dissonance. Okay, so you might not want to linger on this chord for too long. You might just want to play it for a short bit and then place the finger back on again so that the dissonance doesn't last too long. So I will play only one strum and I'll replace the finger right back on the string again. Or even shorter. Okay, I only lifted it for the blink of an eye. Okay, let's continue on. Now if you want to do more different variations on a G chord, you may consider changing the fingering, all right? So I put finger 2 here and finger 3 here. Then I use the pinky here. Okay, you'll notice that I didn't use finger 1 to play the chord. That's your strongest finger. Okay, but I'm saving it because now I can do all my special moves. Maybe I want to play fret 1 on string 2, squeeze fret 1 on the 2nd string, and now you have a G suspended chord. That's definitely one of my favorites. Okay, now something you hear in a lot of acoustic guitar strumming and a lot of modern music is they'll play G in this way. They'll add the first finger on fret 1, string 2, just like you learned. But then also move your second finger 1 string closer to the floor. Okay, so now my middle finger is playing a different note. Now my middle finger is now on 2nd fret, string 4. Okay, and then I get this lovely chord, which sometimes you see written out as a C/G. It's almost like these two notes you'll recognize from a G chord, but then these two notes are from a C chord. It's like the best of both worlds. Okay, once I play that chord, I can go right back to my G, and I can go back and forth. That's gonna sound pretty cool. Cool, you can experiment with different rhythms, okay? So there we go. Okay, and then let's do one final variation of G. Okay, and this one is a little bit tricky to reach, but it sure does sound cool. Let's go back to just the standard way of playing G, just the basic G chord. Okay, now what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna get rid of this finger. I don't need it anymore. And I'm gonna take my first finger and I'm gonna go all the way across the fretboard and I'm gonna place it on fret 2 on the skinniest string. Okay, and that gives you G major 7. That's a cool sound. Okay, so one hint I have for you on this chord is my middle finger is a bit flattened here, and I'm definitely bumping into the 5th guitar string under here where you can't see. Okay, so the 5th guitar string is getting muted right now. And that's okay. That's part of this chord. We don't want that note anyways. We're muting it on purpose. If that string rang out, then this would be kind of an ugly chord. So I don't want that note at all. I want the 5th string to be a dead string. Okay, now let's put this whole chord progression together. So here's your basic G. G major 7. Go. Okay, we did at today's lesson a C, an F, an A minor, and a G. So let's put all of that stuff together. All right, we'll start with a C and then add a variation. Play a C. Play variation. Play a C. Throw in a variation. Play a C. Play a variation. Okay, now F. F. Variation. F. Variation. F. Variation. F. Variation. Okay, now A minor. Variation. A minor. Variation. A minor. Variation. A minor. Variation. Okay, now G. Variation. G. Variation. G. Variation. There we go. Okay, now your chord progression is a lot more interesting because it's moving around. There are moving notes. Instead of the chords just being the same all the time, now the notes are constantly changing, and that gives it a really interesting sound. All right, play it together with me one more time. 1, 2, ready, go. C. Now F. Now A minor. Now G. Alright, I hope you found this video helpful. If so, drop a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you next time.